Well, good morning, everybody. We're going to do a garden update. You can see my one pot of Wandering Jew is doing okay. The other one in the garden is really good. This one, I only had a couple of pieces left, and I stuck it down here. But it is growing, so I'm not complaining about it. Got an eggplant right here. Look at that, the blooms on it. I got little peppers here. And this is just on my bushes right here on the patio. Pepper plant over here. I picked all the tomatoes off of it. Good morning, Lucky. They've already had their breakfast this morning. Tomato plant there's growing like crazy, but it's suffering in the heat. There was a little bird's egg. Look at that. A little bird's egg. I wonder where. Oh my, no, that couldn't have been. Do you reckon that could have been a hummingbird? That's just big enough to get out of that hole. That might have been a hummingbird baby. Isn't that neat? Little bitty bird's egg. It's hatched open. And that's got to be what it is. It's where the hummingbirds nest up here. You know, they had babies in there, and they pushed the broken shell out. That's neat. Just wondering. I don't see anything in there. And I don't know where else that egg would have come from. It had to be in there. But I got sunflowers up pretty big here. Crepe myrtles are blooming. We got plenty of rain this year for the last couple of months, so that's the only reason my crepe myrtles are blooming. Because when it's extremely dry and we don't get the rain, that's when the crepe myrtles do not bloom. My mums and my crepe myrtles, my mums and my sunflowers here are doing good. My little rose bush in the middle of all this. I've got to get me another mum or something in here. The plants in my wishing well are doing good. Got 2 moonflower plants coming up in there. They were volunteers, I think. My rock garden here is looking okay. All of the blanket flowers has pretty much died off. But all those little bulbs at the top, they'll throw out seeds. So, rosebush there is looking good. And I think that's 4 o'clocks with it. My mom's here is looking good. You know, we planted those last year. Sounds like guys are over there working on that new house this morning. Doing something. Mums, they're doing fantastic. They get a lot of shade during the day. They're putting up rain gutters. I left the pumpkin. I left it for the bugs. I picked the other one. It's up on the table. And it's funny because once they're picked, the bugs don't bother them. Look at there. It's broke loose from the stem. So the bugs left. They only wanted if it's a fresh new plant that's still living. Or pumpkin that's still living. I had to move this pot because it was getting too much sun in the corner where it was over here. And I probably am going to have to put a shade cloth up to my strawberries because they're getting a little bit too much sun now since it's heated up. I've got another small shade cloth ordered. Yeah, they're over there working. And I'll probably end up putting a shade cloth on this one because next year I'm not going to plant nothing like's in it this year. Because we still got some of this vine growing, but I don't know what it is because it's never produced anything. My squash is still living. Trying to produce squash. You can see down in there. This one still looks good. It may produce more squash if it ever cools off. If it don't, the heat don't kill it. And my turnips and stuff, it's just too hot in this corner. They don't get enough water. There's not enough water that stays in the bed. I can't water it every day. So, and this one's about gone. The marigolds are the only thing that live here. But you can see since I pulled all my celery, I did leave one. I cut it off and I left the roots in the ground to see if it would regrow. Because you know you can do that, so I'm experimenting with that one. But you can see what was happening to my strawberries. The heat was burning the leaves, so I covered them to see if that would help with the shade cloth. My tomatoes, I had to try to stake them up the best I could. And this, I never did get back out here and tie it up. Because I need to tie something around the whole thing and prop it up because it's starting to bend over and I don't want it bending over. That's grape and cherry tomatoes there. There's probably 7 or 8 vines planted in that big pot. My marigolds, it's getting too hot on them. My tomato plants are trying to survive. Look at the tops, but the bottoms are looking bad. Got tomatoes on some of them still that are ripening up. See, I'm going to cut them off here. Cut them off here under the shade. Under the shade cloth so they can't get any taller. I don't want them growing any taller. Get that one over here. If I can reach it. Just breaking the top off. See? Keep it from growing any taller. Hopefully. See, I got to get out here and pick those tomatoes. Look at there. And this one's trying to come back to life. It looked like it was going to dry when it first started heating up. But it looks like it may survive since it's covered. I don't know. This poor tomato plant here, I just don't know. It's got tomatoes on it, but the poor plant itself is trying to die. I got peppers. Look at there. That's those Hungarian wax hot peppers. And I finally got back there and got the tomato plant that was all down between the shed and the totes. I got it up and I got it staked up here. because that wild morning glory or whatever was getting all in it. And I pulled this one up too from back there. I mean, it looks a mess because it was getting so tall, but at least it's up. It's not down between the shed and the totes anymore. It's up here where the onions are. But this squash plant, as long as I can keep it watered good, looks like it's trying to survive. That tomato plant, I don't know about it. And look at here. The walking onions, the Egyptian walking onions that we planted not long ago. Look how tall they are. They're about 1.5 feet tall if I pull the blades up. And look at my eggplant that came up in it. Tub of walking onions. I got a tomato plant with, this is a Roma tomato plant. And there is I can get my camera down in here. My Casper white eggplant. The first one I've gotten so far. And I don't know how big it gets, so I'm just leaving it there for a little bit to see if it'll get any bigger. Because it's only about 3 or 4 inches long right now. My carrots, I probably need to come in here and pull them all out. I was giving them time because some of the carrots I pulled out are really tiny and some of them are a good size, but not all of them. You can see I pulled a handful here, and I'll show you those in my next cooking video. And this tomato plant is full of tomatoes. Like I said, I got to get out here and pick more tomatoes. My Hungarian pepper plant there is full of peppers. This is still full of tomatoes. Most of them are green, but it's still full of tomatoes. This one back here too. This one, look at that. Got a bug on there, look at that. Isn't that a pretty little tomato? Pretty little tomato, y'all. All these tomatoes, see, they got plenty of ripe tomatoes that I need to get picked. Plenty of ripe tomatoes, plenty of green ones still on there. And over here, I've got another one. Plenty of tomatoes. And here is my, I think this is a celebrity or a big boy. I'm not sure which, but these are the bigger tomatoes. Here's another one of the small ones, small tomatoes. I had to eat that tomato, y'all. It's so good. Tomatoes there. There's my Roma. Roma tomatoes, y'all. And that's all came from the sliced tomato that we planted. Here's some other bigger tomatoes that I need to get out here and pick. Yeah, I'm doing this video before it gets so hot out here. See, here's my other pot of wandering Jew. It's blooming. Look at the purple flowers up there. It's starting to bloom. This one gets, I don't know, a little different climate than the other one. I may need to bring the other pot back here, since this one is living so good back here. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. My clematis is starting to grow really good back here. I guess it was because of the months and months of rain that we got before this drought set in. My collards, look at those. My walking stick collards, or what, they're tree collards basically. And I planted a cabbage over there. My Rose of Sharon, and I still haven't moved it. I don't know where to move it to. But I need to move it out of that spot. It gets too much hot sun all day. My Hungarian peppers, hot ones. And look at that poor little butternut squash. I don't know if it'll ever do anything, but it's tried its best to produce. See, this is what happens if I don't pick them. They drop to the ground. See there? I got to pick me some more tomatoes. Those are all Roma tomatoes there. And see, I pulled my onions here. I need to replant something. My sunflowers along the house, in between my rose bushes. Rose bushes here. Tomatoes. And it gets a little warm in this corner for my tomato plants too. So I may not plant any here next year. And it's getting pretty tall. It's above the cage already. But they're producing tomatoes. And there's my basil. And look at the peppers that we planted out here. Looks like every one of them survived. As long as I can keep them watered, they'll produce a bunch of peppers for us. There's the marigolds that I moved out of the strawberry patch. And see, here's another one of those vines that has not produced anything. Got tomatoes back there. And see, I put this trellis here, arbor, for my tomato plants to grow on. And look where they grow. They grow toward the sun. And I've got ground cherry plants that came up. Clematis here is going crazy. It's going up the tree now. Oh, goodness. I really didn't want it up the tree. But it's latched onto that tree limb. I need to get that tree limb cut off before the clematis keeps going. And look at it here. And I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with this raspberry bush. Mulberry or whatever it was that they say is poison. It's never produced any berries though. And here's my pepper turning red. You know, I picked the other 2 or 3 that was on there before they started turning. And I wanted to see if that one did actually turn red, and it's turning. My cabbages, they're heading up. Look at this. This is a solid head. This one's a little solid head. This one's a solid head. They're all heading up for me. They're solid. My cucumber vine doesn't do too well in the heat. It's like tomato plants. They don't like to, they stop producing basically in the heat, the hot weather. But look at this little tomato bush. It's just covered in tomatoes. And see, there's that vine. It's not producing anything. And pumpkin vines don't like heat, so it'll die off. It'll never produce. Just like my squash, it don't like the hot sun. So I don't know if it's going to survive the summer or not. It may just die off. And there's my eggplants. Look at there. I've got several eggplants in here, but I don't think they're big enough to pick yet. See right down there.